All right, the code seems to be in a decent place here, so I'm going to go ahead and push this up to, I guess, the main branch. Then I'm going to create a new branch as we continue to enhance and improve the admin. I'm not too familiar with this UI here, but I'm going to stage all and commit, I guess. I probably should have made another branch for this, but this will do for now. I'm going to commit and push. Okay. Then I'm going to create a new branch off of this and call it admin, I guess. And I believe that's going to be based off of main, I hope. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So I want to check a couple of things as far as, remember I had asked the system to make sure there's max lengths and make sure everything is protected properly. So I'm going to go to, oh, looks like we're not running. How come? It's going to ask it to start the server. I don't know why it stopped it. Okay, that looks right. Okay, so let's just look at a couple of quick security items here in the admin. If I go to manage categories and add a new category, just want to make sure that it has proper max length in here. I do see a max length of 100 and 500 for description. If I jump into the code, okay, there it is, 100 and 500 here, and that should hopefully match the model. 100 and 500. Okay, just curious how this translates in the database itself. So let's take a quick look. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of security and sanitize checking in this video, but just want to see that the basics are there, and it is obeying my rule to make sure that there are max lengths in place. So that's good. Okay, so going back into the admin here, let's see if we could let's see what we could do to improve the UI. One of the things that I didn't love when I was looking at this before is I'm not really sure what order it's displaying in. Maybe, okay, looks like it's default alphabetically. Cool. If I go to the non-admin version, I guess the end user version, there's a couple of oddities here. I'm not sure where these images are coming from, and these don't appear to be in any particular order. So I'm going to ask Windsurf to give me the ability to set the order in here. That might make a little more sense, and then we'll see if we could also add an icon per category. Okay, I assume this is also going to require some type of a database change. Let's see how it handles it. Okay, looks like it's adding a field for order. That looks reasonable. We'll keep these changes. Looks like a lot of changes here. Okay, looks like it's probably going to post when I make a change to the order. Got a lot of good stuff going on here. Keep that, sure. And let's see what it does in the categories HTML page. This is the page in the admin that's going to need to add a field. I'm curious if it does numeric ID or a grabber bar here. Let's see what it comes up with. Removed 164 lines, added 62 lines. This is what I was saying earlier. It's when you have your code in a decent place and it's working, don't forget to create a branch and commit your code, because now it's making a lot of changes. Not quite sure what it's doing. I'm not looking at it that closely. I don't know the code anyway. I'm just making sure everything looks reasonable, I guess. I don't like this big block of code that's being removed here. This is for deleting. Here's another inline script it's removing. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Keep these changes. Now it's updating the categories JS file. Again, a whole bunch of changes. Added 154 lines, removed 67 lines. Seems like a lot of code to me. Wow. Okay, we'll keep these. And adding some CSS. It looks like it is adding a drag handle, so that's pretty cool. Sure, why not? And making another change to app.py to ensure categories are ordered correctly on the home page. Okay, that's cool too. That's interesting. So if I'm reading this right, again, I really don't know the code. If there are no categories in the database, it's going to have a default list in this order. And logging these changes again. I still don't really love this, but whatever. Okay, now it looks like it's dropping the database, and I assume it's going to, it's going to drop it and recreate it. There is a Flask library for database changes. The name of that is slipping my mind at the moment, rather. It's called FlaskDB. I don't know. Let's get past this, and then I'm going to ask it to use FlaskDB. You shouldn't have to keep dropping your database every time there's a model change, but we'll accept that for now. Okay, restarting the server. Okay, now that's quite a few changes there, and it explains what it did. Drag and drop reordering, responsive. I haven't even looked at responsive yet. Some security stuff, user experience, order persistence. Okay, let's see what happens. Alright, so the UI changed quite a bit. It looks like we lost some of our buttons here. I'm also not seeing any way to reorder these. I think some of the CSS must have broken. If I go to the home page, alright, so that new category that I added before is gone because the database initialized, but I don't know how to reorder these. I can't drag them. I don't know. I'm going to add something called new one. There it is on the bottom. I go to the home page, refresh. There it is, but I still can't reorder them. Okay, let's see if there's anything blatantly broken here. No, not seeing anything. Alright, so I'm telling it that I don't see any way to reorder the categories, and I also seem to be missing the icons for editing and deleting categories. So we're off to the races. Let's see what happens. Now it's adding font awesome for the icons. Prior to my requested change, it was not using font awesome, I don't think, and the icons were there. So I don't know what happened to them. Maybe it got deleted during that big code block. Now it's adding font awesome. And sortable JS. Okay. And now it's gone back to the categories HTML page and adding the drag and drop handles, or the drag handle and icons. Oh, a lot of code changes again. I thought it claimed to have done this prior round, so why are we doing this again? I don't know. Then let's start the server again. Wants to update the admin py file again. I have two cascade windows for some reason. Ooh, a lot of changes now. 122 new lines, and it deleted 196 lines. Wow. Now it looks like it's removing sanitize input. Yeah, I don't know. It's getting rid of a bunch of code that it just added, so I'm not quite sure what it's doing. I'm just going to accept the changes. I don't know any better. And yes, let's run it again. And again, I don't know why it keeps killing it and then restarting it. You shouldn't have to, as long as this is in debugging mode, which it is. It should just automatically restart when it detects a code change, but we'll get to that later. I'm saying we need to add current app back to the imports in admin py since it's needed for the login route. I don't know what that means. Here's this weird UI thing again. And accept, I guess. Current app. Not familiar with this. I don't know what this is. Okay, I accepted it and let it run again. Now, I mentioned I have two different terminals named Cascade. It keeps jumping between both. I don't know why. but it's running again. Let's see what we have. Go back to the home page of the admin. Oh boy, now it's got 0 categories. And now the count here is broken. 0 categories, but I go here and they appear. I go to the home page, they appear, but that count seems to be broken. The good news though is now we seem to have the grab bars for the order. So I'm going to move this new one up. That's cool. And you get a confirmation. That's nice. Go to the home page, refresh. This new one should move up, and it does. All right, so we have legs. Something is working. I'd like a little better UI here. Maybe change this to a pointer. But that does seem to be working. Okay, and we also have edit and delete. So let me see if I edit this getting started. I'm going to put an X in these fields. It's saved. I would have liked to have a confirmation message though, but I didn't get one. But it is updating. If I delete this, okay, that also seemed to work. And it's gone from here. So all of those code changes, I'm not sure what it did. I'm not sure why it had to do it twice, but this does seem to be working. Let me just see if I could get this to change this to a finger point icon. But since things are in a decent spot here, I do want to go here and let me just commit all these changes. Okay, so that created a new branch on GitHub remotely, which is fine. But let's just see if we could get that little UI tweak here. Not sure if my wording is really correct there. Let's see if it can make sense out of it. Okay, that looks reasonable. Oh, okay, looks like maybe my suggestion did not follow best UX practices, so it's going to give me a grab and grabbing instead of pointer. Okay, not even sure what that is. Let's see. It's adding the hover color back. Okay. So it says now when you hover over the handle, you'll see a grab cursor indicating it can be dragged, a slightly darker color for visual feedback. When actively dragging the cursor, changes to a grabbing hand. Okay, let me see how this looks. Now it did not restart. And since this was a CSS change, maybe the server does not have to restart. I'm not sure. Okay, now when I roll over, I still don't get a pointer change, but when I drag it, okay, when I drag it, I see a different icon. I still want to see it though on mouse over. I'll ask it again. Maybe my suggestion is wrong, I'm not sure, so I'm asking what is the best UX suggestion for this? We'll see what it comes up with. So he says the grab cursor should be visible on hover and then change to grabbing when actively dragging. And it's going to fix that. changed a few lines here. Explains what it did. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, when I roll over, still not seeing a change, and when I drag, I do see it. I'm still not seeing it do anything. It's saying on hover, you can grab this, but I don't see it. Now remember, as you incrementally debug and it's working its magic, it's using API credits. So just keep that in mind. If you are like me and you like the UI to be very tight, you get a lot of round and back and forth here, and you end up paying for this. All right, so again, wants to make a change to the CSS here. It says maybe there's a browser incompatibility issue. Now it's updating the categories HTML page again. Added a class. It says the cursor should change to a grab hand. The icon color should darken. Okay, let's see what happens. Nope, still not working. All right, for the sake of time, I'm going to move on from this. Not the biggest deal, but just to show you, this was similar to something I had written in my articles. Sometimes you bump into something that's a seemingly simple UI change or a simple bug, and it really struggles trying to fix it for whatever odd reason. So whatever, we'll move on. This is concerning though. The categories count is off, so that's the next thing we'll try to tackle.